nothing but love and respect. You might have some cool fans, but mine are the best. We've been through it all, went to war when duty called. Never left a man behind, we move as one is super strong. I don't want followers, that implies I'm the leader. I'm not the captain, I just gave them something they can believe in. I hold the lamp in the darkness, but they're the light that I needed to see the road that we walk in between the angels and demons. And my fans have my back. Hate us if your feelings don't like facts. And my fans will fight back. Beat you with the keyboard you've been using to write back. I guess we need each other like both sides of the battery. We the army, we the homies, we the gang, we the cavalry. We're brothers and sisters, we hold it down like we gravity. Can't nobody break the bond that made us all family. Me and my fans, we don't care what anybody say. Middle fingers to whoever in the way, man. Me and my fans, we gon' be together to the grave. It's a game till forever and a day, man. Me and my fans, we don't even trip if they hate. We got our own fuck in our veins, man. Me and my fans, we the hangover gang. Gang, 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 gang.
Oklahoma weather can dish out some of the worst punishment in the world. Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Tuttle. But now you can fight back by installing Class 4 impact-resistant shingles from Ferguson Roof Systems. These shingles can withstand large hail, heavy rain, and hurricane-force winds, all while keeping your home safe and dry. And the best part? This upgrade is completely free for many homeowners. So call today to start reaping the benefits these Class 4 shingles bring, including a discount on home insurance. Only at FergusonRoofSystems.com.
Hey everybody, meteorologist Tuttle back with you again. It is your lunchtime live weather update here for your Friday noon, so thanks for joining me. Little lunchtime weather updates as we head on into the weekend, so you can find out exactly what it is we're going to be seeing across Oklahoma, and then we're going to find out how that severe weather setup looks for next week. So thanks for joining me. Make sure you like and share this video. Tell your friends and family about AT's weather as they go throughout the day to get their science-backed forecast and the weather discussion without all the hype drama and wish casting. Nobody wants wish casting, especially when it comes to tornadoes. Nobody wants those things. We're going to find out if those are going to happen or not. All right, so let's get on with the program, shall we? By the way, on see you guys on YouTube. Thanks for joining in. Same thing with Twitter. And then on Facebook, also going to post this link. If you're having trouble getting notified when I do go live and you want to make sure you don't miss a broadcast, hit that opt-in option for weather updates I just posted, and then I will send you a direct message from your Facebook Messenger. I can see Facebook just now notified me that I was live. Well, Facebook, that was about 3 minutes ago. So there's an example why you might want to opt into this weather updates, because Facebook was late to its own party. Shocker, I know. All right, let's get on with the program, shall we? Now that everybody's been notified, they'll start piling in here. And I got a short time to do all this, as usual. Okay, let's go to, first things first, sunshine out there. You know, it's a nice sunny day, you would think. But those winds, man, they won't stop. I mean, good grief. So I got a north-northwest breeze here. There's 12 miles per hour. If you sit here and watch it long enough, it'll gust even higher than that on occasion. Let's see, the temperature about 53 degrees. So another cool day. Man, we were cold this morning. I'll show you the temperatures here in just a second. But the winds are going to start to die down as well. We'll talk about that too. But right now, the max wind gusts are been into the 30s across, say, the eastern half of the state. A couple of 40s sneaking in there. And then same thing on the western half of the state. So not nearly as bad out here across the western parts of Oklahoma as it has been the last couple of days. Currently, winds out in this region are from the north-northwest, gusting up to around 38 to 40. But still pretty stout. I mean, the sustained winds are up around 15 to 20 in some cases. Now, we will be keeping those gusty winds for the early part of the afternoon, but then they're going to start to calm down. So our max winds are about where they are, 30s and 40s. This is in the model data. So from this point forward, each hour after, say, maybe 2 o'clock, they'll drop down more and more and more. So that's some good news for us, right? So let's take a look and see what the model does. So as we head into the afternoon, see the colors get a lot less. That means that those winds are dying down considerably compared to what they were before. Now what's going to happen is overnight, look at this, there's no colors on the map, which means winds are light and variable depending on where you live. As we head into Saturday morning, let's see, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, what happens? We have kind of a light and variable wind across the state, less than 5 knots. Usually what this means is that it's perfect ideal conditions for a hard freeze. That's right, if you've been living under a rock, got a freeze coming for a lot of us as we head into Saturday morning. Now, by Saturday at lunchtime, the winds kick back in again. So it was a short respite. Here's Saturday afternoon. Here's winds up around 22 knots. sustained. So again, that's 25 to 35 miles per hour with a few gusts thrown in there over central and western Oklahoma for Saturday afternoon and evening. Then they calm down again, but then they pick right back up Saturday night and the Sunday morning. So the Oklahoma wind machine will keep cranking through the day on Sunday. And this time around, a little higher winds out east, because if you notice right here, there is a weakness in the wind field right in this region. You're like, well, why is that? Well, because we have a cold front that's going to sneak in here. And just as all the moisture is starting to work its way in from the Gulf of Mexico, this front's going to come back in and push it all south for our Monday. And where that brakes is put on is where you have the storms that will be developing. We'll get to that in a second. So there's Sunday, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening. We actually have a little bit of a triple point right here that is developed right here. Now, normally in a triple point, this is where the winds come together. So for example, here is a kind of a northeast wind, here is a southwest wind, and here is a south-southeast wind. So that's why they call that a triple point. And when you break this down, you get dry air that comes in this region. So this will be the dry line. And then on this particular case, the cold front that was kind of moving south is kind of held up a little bit as a warm front. So it doesn't really move much in this region. So it's either stationary or warm front, usually in that case is temporarily. And then the back end is where the cold air tries to come on in and work from the south and west. So that's why you have a triple point feature. And when we talk about severe weather, the area of interest for the best ingredients usually is right around this area of the triple point, a little bit farther down, usually where there's a dry line bulge. So in this region right here is where you get the most favored area for the nastiest storms if other ingredients are there. So let's take a look, see what the forecast sounding is just for this particular point in time, and we'll see if there's enough moisture to get any of that going. We got a good setup at the surface, but what else is aloft? Unfortunately, not enough moisture. See this 83, this 50, these would be very, very high-based thunderstorms if they were to develop. And the only threat really would be within this, if this were even to happen, this is a big if because the cloud bases are way up there. Be some elevated hail, and even that, it just doesn't look good. So what we'd have to have, what would change in the next 48 hours, better moisture return to move in here. But otherwise, that would be something that could sneak in here on Sunday evening if we can get that moisture back. That's a pretty good, nice, ideal setup here. I'll click on the most sweet spot, the only best spot the models have. Not quite there yet. So that's good. We have a huge missing ingredient when otherwise would be a potent severe weather maker, including tornadoes. So we don't want that. So that's good. But we'll keep an eye on it for Sunday evening just in case there's a little sneak attack coming our way. But needless to say, you can see the winds do pick up. Here's a look at temperatures this morning like we talked about. They were cold. I had a lot of readings into the 30s and 40s out there across the state. Very cold in the panhandle into the 20s. Yeah, we're going to get pretty much a repeat of that tonight, but even colder. Temperatures out there now, of course, have warmed back into the 50s statewide. Still some 40s out here across far northeast Oklahoma, but they'll recover a little bit. And we also talked about the dew points are fairly low. Now they're creeping up a little here in eastern Oklahoma, way dry out in western Oklahoma. So when you factor in the temperature and the dew point, you get the relative humidity, and it's still fairly low. So what does that mean? Bottom line is it means that this area here with the winds that still are cranking, you got to watch out for any fire danger. So just don't burn. Doesn't take much to get out of control. And of course, the fires that do would spread to the southeast, and their smoke would spread. So last night, I meant to get a picture of this. I'm sure the sunset was gorgeous because we had a lot of smoke and haze in the atmosphere from some fires out in western Oklahoma earlier in the day. Now, temperatures like we talked about for Saturday morning are going to be cold. So these little blue areas, these are 20s, guys. This is a hard freeze for some of you, especially in the low-lying valleys, little riverbeds, that kind of deal. If you're susceptible where you live to freezes late in the year, you're going to have to do something about it. So just make sure you understand your plants may not survive or at least get that old frostbite. Not only just a human, but a plant. All right, let's shift on gears to now the second part of the story, which is the severe weather aspect. So this is from the Storm Prediction Center, so we're going to go to day 4, which is Monday. You can see they barely include Oklahoma City. It's mostly in eastern Oklahoma, probability down to central Texas and northeast from there. Now, can this move around? Sure can. It's still early in the game. And can the coverage expand or shrink? Yes, it certainly, most certainly can. Saturday will be a better idea of what will happen on Monday. Now here's Sunday, once again, keeps it along I-35 and points east, so they're keeping Oklahoma City barely into it. So let's see, that was, that was Monday. Here's Tuesday, there's Tuesday, which does include Oklahoma City barely. And then there's Wednesday, which has it east of Oklahoma City. So you can see how it doesn't move a whole lot. And why is this? Well, we're going to get to that. But bottom line is moisture. Where is it going to be? And it's mostly going to be in that shaded area. Because without moisture, you ain't got nothing. So let's take a look. Upper levels of the atmosphere. I hesitate to use the American model because it's so terrible, man. It stinks so bad. It changes so much from day to day. But, yeah, so why bother? Forget that model. Forget that dude. I'm going to stick with an older data from the Europeans. It's been the most consistent. I just don't trust the American. And that's sad. Can't even trust my own Americans. Got to go with the Europeans. All right, so let's see what happens here. So that big trough has moved out to the east. Here comes a new one coming in on Sunday. Now for Sunday afternoon, there's a little bit of light ripples of energy in the colors you see moving through Oklahoma and Texas. Otherwise, most of the energy up here is in the Pacific Northwest, where that upper level low is forming. And by Monday evening, that's the same pattern, so it hasn't really changed. Won't really have a whole lot of lift to kick things off on Monday. Very subtle. So which means most of the activity is still confined in this region as far as a lot of vertical motion in the atmosphere. So just some barely trickles here. So that's what we call subtle setup. All right, let's go to Tuesday, see what happens here. So Tuesday, we've got the center of the upper low right about here. We're still into this southwesterly flow aloft, and we still have the bulk of the good lift in this region here, which is normal around the upper level low. We don't have much showing up in this little sneaky southern track. There's a little bit here for southeastern Oklahoma. But there's no major systems. A lot of times the models won't pick up on those. You have to pick those up the day of in the satellite channel. It's an old trick that is used often in weather forecasting. All right, let's go to Wednesday. So Wednesday afternoon and evening, the upper low has now moved into western Kansas. You can see where there's a lot of lift here. The brighter the colors, the stronger the lift in the atmosphere. This is a big one by this time. In other words, it compacts a lot of that kinetic energy right here across the central plains. However, you must realize that this is not where all the action is. The action actually happens east of this area. So you're looking at a more favored region here. So what you do need still is moisture. So you have to have moisture from the Gulf of Mexico to work in here and a few other ingredients, but this is the setup for on Wednesday. So you can see that's why Oklahoma City wasn't included in it. It just moves in too fast. What would change is if this system comes in a little slower, then that would put Oklahoma City back into the bullseye of seeing potential severe weather. But then that's going to move on out, and a little system comes through on the Saturday and the weekend. Just a few sprinkles and showers, it looks like. Otherwise, it's pretty moisture starved, and then that's it here for a while. So that's kind of the big picture. Like we said, we need moisture, so let's see if it's coming. All right, so here's on Saturday, a little bit of light moisture there in the eastern parts of the state. Looking at the dew point values. Of course, they're going to call me now. Don't call me now. I'm busy. Let's see. Let's go back to Sunday. All right, so here's Sunday afternoon and evening. Here's that trail of the really deep moisture down here across Texas, moving into southeast Oklahoma. So it hasn't really infiltrated central Oklahoma very much, which is why that triple point is kind of wasted. It doesn't really have that good deep moisture feed. It's displaced. So we'll see if that changes, but for right now, that's where it's currently located. All right, so now on Monday, what happens? Well, that front moves through the state. Remember how I told you it's going to clear things out? Look at that. This shoves all the moisture down here in the far southeastern Oklahoma on Monday afternoon and evening. So where's the severe weather potential with this? Way down here in southeast Oklahoma, northeastern Texas, and Arkansas. So there's your Monday severe weather setup. Remember, just because you see a nice big bullseye on the screen doesn't mean anything. You have to look into the details. And the details is where the moisture is, so this would be the more favorable area just looking at moisture alone. With a dew point of 42, you don't get a whole lot of action when it comes to severe weather. So this is our high-resolution mesoscale model. This is the first one that comes in within an 84-hour window. So this is where we start to get a little bit better sampling of the atmosphere and start to really see more details than what we could see on a global model. And right now, this first day, unless things dramatically change, everything's shunted off to the south and east. Okay, so if we were to look at a model blend, in other words, more of an ensemble look, just to see where the moisture is, because sometimes one model can be out to lunch, right? If I just use one model, it's out to lunch, I'm in trouble. So it's good to use a blend of that type of model, and we'll see if it changed any in its general consensus. So here's Monday afternoon. So the general consensus for it is the moisture is still south and east, this kind of area, but it was able to recover in the far eastern Oklahoma to Tulsa. So that's a little bit of a change from the operational run. Now, which one is right? Could be either one. This is, matter of fact, because a new run of this hasn't come in yet. So this is last night's data. So it could easily be updated and scooting back off to the east. On Tuesday, the blend still keeps it pretty close to I-35 corridor and then points to the east with better ingredients across eastern Oklahoma. And on Wednesday, well, you can see there is no moisture here in Oklahoma. It's all east. So this is what forecasters usually use for long-range prediction. But as we get closer in, you have to start using the short-term models for better, let's just say better lines in the sand where you want to draw certain things. Okay, so let's just use the European and see how things go with what we looked at here before. So let's go to Monday afternoon. So there you go. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, looks like a few showers and thunderstorms try to develop across the eastern third of the state. So basically from Tulsa north to south is where that most favored area is. And that again is assuming we can get some moisture return in there, which is questionable. All right, that was it. And then that's over. Let's go on into Tuesday. So here's Tuesday afternoon. Models are trying to kickstart some storms along the I-35 corridor, which barely includes Oklahoma City, maybe just on the east side. And then they should mature a little bit more as they move into eastern Oklahoma into sections. So anytime you see in model output where it's sectional, like those little groups of storms, that's usually not a good sign. That usually means supercell type storms, even for this type of model. So those will be off in eastern Oklahoma by the evening hours and pressing into Arkansas. On Wednesday, what's going to happen there? Few spotty showers and elevated thunderstorms looks like for the early part of the afternoon around 1 o'clock. But because the system is coming in so soon, they don't really get going until they're almost out of the state. So far eastern Oklahoma on Wednesday. That quickly moves into Arkansas during the evening hours as well. So far eastern Oklahoma on Wednesday is the best shot at severe weather. As we talked about, a few showers coming in here on Saturday. Models try to produce a little bit of snow out here in the Panhandle in northwest Oklahoma briefly Saturday morning. Otherwise, just a chilly rain or sprinkles for the remainder of the day up north. So that's how that breaks down. All right, now, okay, you're like, okay, well, I don't live in Oklahoma, Aaron. I live in Kansas and Missouri or Arkansas, so what about me? Well, I will show you where the best ingredients are kind of focusing on this activity. So if we go back to Monday, it does like that favored region here of Arkansas, southwest Missouri, and maybe in a few showers or elevated storms in Texas, Louisiana. Probably capped down there, it's probably elevated in nature. All right, let's go to Tuesday. So some scattered activity here across north central Texas. Again, a couple here in Oklahoma. Let's go to the afternoon hours. There's 7 o'clock Tuesday. So southeastern Kansas, southwestern Missouri, Arkansas again on the west sides in the evening hours, and into eastern Texas in the evening. And you can see how that moves in by late evening, so by 10 o'clock, all completely out of Oklahoma, and they're all end up Missouri, Arkansas, and Louisiana. And yes, some of these could be producing some pretty decent severe weather. That'll be moving on off to the east. Let's see. So let's go to Wednesday, see what happens there. Things bubbling up early afternoon, pressing along the southeastern Kansas through western Arkansas, right along the state line track, looks like on into eastern Texas. By 7 o'clock, that big mess is over Arkansas, western Missouri, and still some trailing, lingering stuff if storms can refire in this zone. A lot of times, if you get storms that fire too soon, and this cluster kind of moves off, in this region to the east, it cools the air too much back behind it, a lot of subsidence. So to get a secondary line to form, I know the models really want to do it due to the lift, but because of the sinking motion here, it's going to be a battle, and these may not even happen. So that secondary line for late evening may not even happen in Oklahoma, as it's too stabilized and everything's off into Arkansas again. So there's a lot of little nuances that can happen in forecasting that can really mess up a forecast. And when you're trying to do that, several days away, good luck on getting everything right? Okay, so that'll move on out for Thursday, and it's over, right? It's no big deal. Here's that little system for Saturday for rain across Oklahoma and Texas and down along the Gulf Coast. So that's the first part of the weekend. For Easter weekend, and then Sunday itself looks pretty good. Dry. That looks good. All right. Temperatures. Is that where we're going next? Oh, no, rainfall. So rainfall real quick. You can see based off the European data alone, I-35 seems to be the line in the sand from Wichita to Oklahoma City to Dallas to Waco, and points east of there. As the farther you travel east, the better rain you get. Some of these amounts could lead to some flash flooding, with amounts up here close to 5 inches. Some of these heavier thunderstorm downpours. All right, temperatures here in Oklahoma City over the next few days. We'll be getting quite toasty, 86, almost 90 degrees on Sunday. So it'll be a little warm ahead of that little front that comes in Sunday night. But then on Monday, and remember it's a weak front, but it's enough to kind of clear out the moisture a little bit. Monday, Tuesday, because obviously we're right back into the 80s as it was a rebound occurs and the moisture tries to come back in. And then on Wednesday, the next week, we do cool things back down into the 60s and 70s, overnight lows back into the 40s. But watch what happens here. Again, this is probably the official low at Will Rogers Airport kind of a deal. Your backyard will vary. Could be anywhere from 25 to 40 degrees, depending on if you live on a hill or if you live in a valley, and et cetera, et cetera. So there you go with that. All right, I believe that was it for me. That was a little longer than I anticipated, about 15 minutes long, but there was a lot to talk about, unfortunately, and try to get it all in. It's just hard to do. So Isaac, yes, I do follow the tropics during hurricane season. Every now and then we'll talk about those of interest once they kind of get going and see who they're going to affect. Let's see. Larry, believe it or not, I know you're just joking, but I actually am an artist. And you're like to say, what? And I'm like, yeah, actually I was going to do art for a living. Believe it or not. And my mom said, you might live in a cardboard box the rest of your life. And now at the age of, was it 13 or 16, I took her literal. And I was like, the idea of a cardboard box does not sound appealing. So I also liked weather at the same time, so I decided to kind of just use my other side of my brain on the science side and just take all the math and physics and chemistry that I could. And I was good at that too. So I ended up doing both. So in the end, it worked out because you have no idea the talent, not to brag at all, but just the talent set or skill level required to do all of this as a one-man band. I mean everything from creating the content, drawing it up, to building it, to having an eye for color, design, to then making it work on the technical side. All the stuff you have to just learn on your own, behind the scenes, just going down rabbit holes to try to make something work when no one else has done it. You got to figure it out. So from that, on the technical end of things, directing, producing, when things go wrong, you got to go on the fly and figure out a solution quick. And then all this while having a smile on your face and then actually thinking about the weather and analyzing it and then talking it out at the same time. Oh my gosh. So there you go. Phew. It's a mess. It's difficult. That's a serious multitasking effort to make all this happen. So anyway, maybe I'll draw you something for you later. Okay, well that's it for me. I gotta get out of here, get back to lunch. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your Friday, enjoy your weekend, and check in with me off and on. I'll be doing some updates as we get closer to the events for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to see, again, what effect this upper storm system will have across Oklahoma. Take care, everybody.